Welcome back to the channel, Soap Squad. Today is a beautiful day to dissect the absolute madness that just went down in Port Charles. If you aren't completely losing your minds right now, are we even watching the same show? Grab your coffee and take a seat, because we have so much to unpack. I cannot believe they actually did that. I am literally sitting here vibrating with adrenaline, because what in the actual world just happened on our screens? I mean, we all knew this hit and run storyline was going to explode eventually, but I never in a million years thought they would pull the trigger like this. Right in the middle of the most high profile event of the season, I am still trying to catch my breath. You guys know I have been watching this show since 2015, and I have seen my fair share of public humiliations and dramatic arrests. But this takes the absolute cake. It was brutal, it was messy, and I am entirely obsessed with every single second of it. Let's just set the scene for a second. We are at Trina's art showcase. The gallery is gorgeous, the lighting is perfect, Giovanni is playing beautiful music in the background, and all of Port Charles' elite are walking around clinking champagne glasses. It was supposed to be Trina's big night to shine after all the miserable family drama she has been dealing with lately. But no, because this is General Hospital, and we can't have a nice quiet evening of art and culture. Instead, the double doors swing open, and in walks Detective Harrison Chase, looking like he is marching straight to an execution. And honestly, he kind of was. Because he wasn't there to look at paintings or support the local arts. He was there to publicly execute Willow's reputation and freedom. So Chase walks right up to Willow, in front of literally everyone, the mayor, the doctors, the socialites, her family, and pulls out the handcuffs. The handcuffs. He didn't ask her to come down to the station quietly. He didn't pull her aside into a private office to spare her dignity. He cuffed her right there in the middle of the gallery floor. And why? Because of Lucy Coe. Yes, Lucy freaking Coe. I know some people are loving this twist, but personally I am just floored by how easily Lucy played the PCPD. She marched in there with her anonymous tip, pointing the finger directly at Willow as the driver of the black German-made car that fled the scene of the Ashford accident. The paint samples matched. The evidence was suddenly irrefutable. And Chase, the man Willow has been shamelessly making hard eyes at for months, had to be the one to read her rights. And can we talk about Willow's reaction for a minute? Because Caitlin McMullen just acted her absolute socks off in this episode. Usually Willow is so composed, right? She is the polished congresswoman, the perfect mother, the woman who always tries to hold her head high even when her life is falling apart behind closed doors. But not tonight. Tonight, she absolutely shattered. She was screaming, crying, begging Chase to believe her. I'm innocent. I didn't do it. Over and over again. Her voice was cracking, her knees practically gave out, and she looked so incredibly small and terrified. It wasn't just a polite little soap opera tear rolling down her perfectly powdered cheek. It was an ugly, guttural, humiliating breakdown in front of the entire town. I kind of felt bad for her, which is crazy because I have been so frustrated with her character lately. Wait. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just remember who we are dealing with here. Remember when Willow was just a sweet school teacher who wanted to protect little Wiley from Shiloh? Yeah, those days are long gone. Now she is drugging her husband, hiding fugitive mobsters like Jen Sidwell in her house, and getting arrested for vehicular assault. It is wild how far she has fallen from grace. But even with all the terrible, unforgivable things she has done recently, she actually didn't commit this specific crime. That is the craziest part of this entire storyline. She is going down for the one thing she is actually innocent of. And seeing her realize that no one in that room believed her, that the paint match made her look guilty as sin, was honestly hard to watch. She was completely broken, staring at the faces of her peers, and seeing nothing but judgment. Okay, back to the point. While Willow is screaming and sobbing in the center of the room, the camera pans to the corner, and there she is, Brook Lynn Quartermain, standing in the shadows, nursing a drink, watching the woman she hates get dragged away in irons. Amanda Setton's facial expressions in this scene deserve an Emmy, period. You could see the exact moment the relief washed over her, followed immediately by the crushing, suffocating weight of guilt. Because we know the truth. Brook Lynn was the one driving that black BMW. Brook Lynn was the one who hit Isaiah Gannon and left him bleeding on the road. Brook Lynn is the one whose grandmother, Tracy, had the car secretly detailed to cover up the damage. I mean, I get why Brook Lynn did it. I really do. She is terrified. She knows that if Chase finds out she committed a hit and run and lied to him about it for weeks, their marriage is over. He is a Boy Scout. He literally arrested his own grandmother-in-law the other week over a fake fountain-pushing incident, for crying out loud. He wouldn't hesitate to arrest his own wife if the law demanded it. Plus, they are trying to adopt baby Phoebe, and a felony conviction would destroy any chance of that happening. So Brook Lynn made a deal with the devil. She used Lucy Coe to plant the evidence and frame Willow. Why Willow? Because Brook Lynn knows Willow is trying to steal her husband. Willow literally offered Chase a job in DC just to get him away from his wife. So Brook Lynn neutralized the threat. But watching an innocent woman get handcuffed while you walk free? That is dark, even for a Quartermaine. And let's be real, this is classic Quartermaine behavior. Remember when they tried this kind of massive cover-up with Edward or Alan back in the day? Yeah, didn't work then either. It always blows up in their faces. Jane Elliott has played Tracy with such icy perfection through this whole cover-up, teaching Brook Lynn how to bury the truth. But Brook Lynn lacks Tracy's iron stomach. She is playing with fire here. She is letting her own husband arrest an innocent woman. When Chase finds out, and he will find out, because this is Port Charles and secrets have a shelf life of about 3 weeks, he is going to be utterly devastated. He is going to feel so betrayed that Brook Lynn let him compromise his badge, his integrity, and his soul to lock up his ex-wife. Brook Lynn thinks she saved her marriage tonight, but I'm telling you, she just planted the bomb that is going to blow it to pieces. But wait, we haven't even touched on the most disturbing part of this entire sequence. Michael Corinthos. Was I the only one who got actual chills watching Michael stand in that crowd, stone-faced and silent as Willow's world imploded? Because Michael knows. He has all the pieces of the puzzle. He knows Brook Lynn was the one actually behind the wheel. But did he step forward? Did he stop Chase from making a wrongful arrest? Did he move to protect the mother of his children as she sobbed in despair on the floor? Not a chance. He just stood there, hands in his pockets, watching the carnage unfold like it was a piece of light entertainment. It was cold. It was calculating. And it was absolutely chilling. So why did Michael let Willow take the fall? Because he's a manipulative, calculating Corinthos. That's why. We all know Michael has been setting this trap for weeks. He wanted to push Willow and Chase together just so he could catch them in an affair. He is looking to blow up Brook Lynn and Chase's marriage to satisfy his own twisted agenda, and what better way to do that than by letting Willow spiral into a pit of despair. Michael knew that when Willow was at her lowest point, feeling like the world was against her, she would turn to Chase for comfort. He knew that if Chase was the one to arrest her, the emotional tension and trauma bonding between them would skyrocket. Michael is truly using Willow's freedom as a pawn in his sick game of chess. He's letting her face felony charges just so he can orchestrate an affair scandal. It is truly the behavior of a sociopath. But here's the thing. I don't think Michael expected Willow to react the way she did. You could see a tiny flicker of genuine shock on his face when Willow started wailing and begging. He probably thought she would keep her cool, call Diane Miller, and handle it quietly like the poised politician she pretends to be. He didn't anticipate the sheer, raw panic. He didn't expect her to completely shatter in front of the entire Port Charles high society. For a split second, I thought Michael might actually feel a pang of guilt and step in to stop the madness. But no, he swallowed that guilt right down and kept his mouth shut. He is committed to the bit, and he is going to ride this train all the way to divorce court, no matter who gets crushed under the wheels. And what about Chase? Oh my gosh, my heart was breaking for him too. He was trying so hard to maintain his professional, stoic cop face, but you could see the absolute conflict in his eyes. He still cares about Willow. We all know it. Brook Lynn knows it. Nina knows it. Tracy knows it. Tracy literally caught them in their bathing suits at the boathouse and demanded Chase pack his bags. He has been defending Willow for weeks, and now he is the one slapping the cold steel cuffs on her wrists. The irony is just too delicious. The man she is obsessed with, the man she wants to run away to Washington, D.C. with, is the one physically taking away her freedom. The psychological damage this is going to do to both of them is off the charts. Every time she looks at him now, she is going to remember him dragging her out of that gallery. And we have to talk about the ripple effects this is going to have on the rest of the canvas. Poor Trina. Can we just take a moment of silence for Trina's art showcase? The girl finally decides to set boundaries, stop worrying about Portia and Curtis's endless drama, and focus on her own career, and her big night turns into an episode of Cops. Not to mention, the victim of this hit and run is Isaiah Gannon. Portia and Curtis were probably in that room watching the woman they think ruined Isaiah's surgical career get hauled off to jail. Portia must have felt so vindicated seeing the driver arrested, taking the heat off Curtis's initial false accusation, while the real driver, Brook, was sweating just a few feet away. The tension in that gallery was so thick, you could cut it with a scalpel. Every single person in that room is connected to this mess, somehow, and the fallout is going to be absolutely nuclear. So what happens next? I am calling it right now. Mark my words. Willow is going to get out on bail, and she is going to lean entirely on Chase to prove her innocence. She is going to look at him with those big, tear-filled eyes and beg him to find the real culprit. Chase is going to start digging into the evidence because he won't be able to shake the feeling that something is wrong. He is a good detective when he isn't blinded by his personal life. He is going to find the holes in Lucy Coe's story, and when he follows the trail, it is going to lead right back to the Quartermain mansion. It is going to lead right back to Brooklyn's freshly detailed BMW. And when Chase realizes that his own wife framed the woman he used to love, it's over. The marriage is done. And Michael is going to be standing right there in the shadows with a camera, ready to catch Willow and Chase falling into bed together in their grief. I am just so overwhelmed by the sheer perfection of this soapy drama. This is exactly why we watch daytime television, people. The betrayal, the public scenes, the secret motives, the absolute devastation of it all. I am going to be thinking about Willow's screams and Brooklyn's guilty face for the rest of the week. I need to know if you guys are as hyped about this as I am. Are you Team Brooklyn for doing whatever it takes to protect her family and her future baby? Are you Team Willow because she is actually innocent of this specific crime and doesn't deserve to be framed? And what the heck are we going to do about Michael being an absolute sociopath? Drop your thoughts below because I cannot process this alone.